The year is 1818. The place is the royal military capital of Bulawayo in what is now KwaZulu-Natal, South Africa. Thousands of young men, some as young as 14, are gathered on a vast parade ground. They have been taken from their families, their clans, their home villages. They have been stripped of their old identities. They have been told that they no longer belong to their parents, they belong to the king. They belong to the regiment. They belong to the Zulu nation. Before them stands a man who will become a living legend, Shaka Zulu. He is not tall, but he is built like a bull. His body is scarred from decades of combat. His eyes miss nothing. He walks among the recruits, inspecting them, looking for weakness. He finds a boy who is crying. He stops. He speaks to the boy softly at first, then with rising fury, "You weep for your mother? Your mother is dead to you. You weep for your home. Your home is the regiment. You weep for your old name. Your old name is forgotten. You are a soldier now. You will fight. You will kill. You will die if I command it, and you will do it with joy, because you are Zulu. You are the king's spear. You are the bullhorns of the nation." The boy stops crying. He wipes his eyes. He stands taller. He will become one of the most feared warriors in Africa. This is the Zulu Warrior Training System. Not training, forging. A brutal, relentless, genius process that turned raw teenage boys into the most disciplined infantry of the 19th century. The Zulu did not have gunpowder. They did not have steel armor. They did not have horses. What they had was a system of age-based regiments, physical conditioning, psychological hardening, and tactical drilling that made them the masters of southern Africa. Today, we are going inside that system. We will follow a young Zulu boy from his first day of training to his first battle. To understand the Zulu training system, you must first understand the Zulu social structure. The Zulu were not born warriors. They were farmers and herders. Every young man was expected to learn to fight, but not every young man was a full-time soldier. The genius of Shaka Zulu was to create a system of age-based regiments called Amabutho. Every few years, all the young men of a certain age group, usually those between 14 and 20, would be called up to form a new regiment. They would leave their homes, their families, and their childhood behind. They would move into a military barracks called an ikanda. They would live there for years, sometimes decades, training, drilling, and serving the king. They were forbidden to marry. They were forbidden to wear sandals. They were forbidden to eat certain foods that Shaka believed made men soft. They were not allowed to grow their hair long, only a small topknot, which they would later use to tie feathers of valor. They were not allowed to wear the full leopard skin headdress of a veteran until they had killed an enemy in battle. Their lives were no longer their own. They belonged to the regiment. The regiment was their family. The king was their father. The nation was their mother. This system had two purposes. First, it created a standing army of full-time professional soldiers, something almost unheard of in pre-colonial Africa. Second, it broke the old clan loyalties that had caused endless feuds. A young man from one clan would live and fight alongside young men from other clans. They would develop loyalty to each other, not to their distant cousins. This unity, this destruction of tribalism, was Shaka's greatest political achievement. The Zulu nation was born not from conquest alone, but from the barracks. Now let us follow a recruit through his training. His name is not important. He is perhaps 15 years old. He has been chosen from his village by the king's conscriptors. He was not asked, he was taken. He arrives at the Ikanda, a massive circular compound of beehive-shaped huts surrounded by a thorn fence. He is given a new name, a military name, chosen by the king or by his regiment's commander. His old name is forgotten. He is stripped of his old clothes and given a simple leather loincloth. He is given a shield, not his permanent shield, but a training shield made of lighter hide. He is given a training spear, a heavy wooden stick, not the iklua. For the first year, he will not touch a real weapon. He must earn the right to carry steel. The first phase of training is physical conditioning. Every morning before dawn, the regiment runs. Not a jog, a sprint. They run barefoot over rocky ground, through thorn bushes, across rivers. They run for miles. They run until their feet bleed. They run until some collapse. Those who collapse are beaten by the drill instructors, older veterans who have been assigned to train the new recruits. The beatings are not punishment. They are training. The Zulu believe that a warrior must learn to endure pain without complaint. A man who cannot endure a beating cannot endure a spear wound. A man who cries from a lash will cry from a sword. The beatings continue until the recruit learns to stand still, face expressionless, while a hide whip cuts his back. After the run comes the obstacle course. The Zulu do not have walls to climb or ropes to swing on. Their obstacle course is the African bush. They are taught to crawl through dense undergrowth without making a sound. They are taught to swim rivers while holding their weapons above their heads. They are taught to climb steep hills while carrying a heavy shield. They are taught to move through thorn thickets without snagging their clothing, because if a thorn snags your clothing, it will also snag an enemy's spear. The goal is to become invisible, silent, and unstoppable. The Zulu warrior must be able to travel 50 miles in a single day over rough terrain without food or water, and then fight a battle. That is not hyperbole. That is the standard. The second phase of training is weapons instruction. The Zulu warrior carries 3 weapons: the ikla, stabbing spear, the isejula, throwing spear, and the knobkerrie, a heavy wooden club with a round head. The ikla is the primary weapon. It has a short, heavy wooden shaft and a broad iron blade about 18 inches long. The name is onomatopoeic. It mimics the sound of the blade being drawn from a wound. Ikelwa, ikelwa. The recruit learns to use the ikla in a series of drills. He learns to stab from behind his shield, thrusting upward into the enemy's ribs. He learns to stab over his shield, aiming for the enemy's face. He learns to stab while kneeling, while lying on his back, while turning to the side. He practices for hours each day on a straw dummy shaped like a man. He must strike the same spot every time, the heart or the throat. He must withdraw the blade instantly, because a stuck blade is a dead warrior. The isejula is a lighter spear, designed to be thrown. The recruit learns to throw it accurately at a target 50 yards away. He learns to throw it while running, while dodging, while falling. He learns to carry 2 or 3 isejula behind his shield, ready to hurl at the enemy before closing for the stab. The knobkerrie is a backup weapon, a club that can crush a skull even if the spears are lost. The recruit learns to swing it with either hand, because in battle your shield hand may be your only free hand. The most important weapon, however, is the shield. The Zulu shield is made of cowhide, stiffened with a central wooden spine. It is nearly 4 feet tall. It is not just a defense, it is a tool. The recruit learns to hook the enemy's shield with his own, pulling it aside to create an opening. He learns to push the enemy off balance with the rim of his shield. He learns to hide behind it from arrows and throwing spears. He learns to use it as a weapon. The iron-reinforced edge can cut a throat. The shield is painted with the colors of his regiment. It is his identity. It is his home. A Zulu warrior without his shield is naked. He is also dead. The third phase of training is psychological hardening. This is the most brutal part. The recruit is taught to have no fear of death. He is taught that death in battle is the highest honor. He is taught that the ancestors are watching, and that if he dies bravely, he will join them in the afterlife. The Zulu do not have a concept of hell. They have a concept of shame. To die a coward is to be forgotten. To die a hero is to be sung about forever. The drill instructors tell stories of past battles, of warriors who fought with arrows in their chests, of men who killed 5 enemies before falling, of regiments that charged into impossible odds and won. These stories are not entertainment, they are indoctrination. The recruit learns that he is part of a chain of heroes stretching back to the founding of the nation. He learns that his personal survival is less important than the survival of the regiment. He learns that to run from battle is to betray his brothers, and that betrayal is punished by death. The Zulu army had no military police. Discipline was enforced by the warriors themselves. If a man fled, his own comrades would kill him. They would kill him because his cowardice endangered them all. This is not a modern army with courts-martial and prisons. This is a tribal army with a simple rule: fight or die. The psychological hardening also includes ritual scarification. The recruit is cut on his arms, chest, and back with a sharp blade. Ash is rubbed into the wounds to create raised scars. These scars are not decorative, they are a record. Each scar represents a stage of training, a ritual completed, a step closer to manhood. The scars are also a test of pain tolerance. A recruit who screams or flinches during scarification is marked as weak. He will be watched. He will be tested again. If he fails again, he may be expelled from the regiment. A fate worse than death. An expelled recruit is sent home in disgrace. He cannot marry. He cannot own cattle. He is an outcast. He might as well be dead. Most recruits do not fail. They endure. They become hard. They become Zulu. The fourth phase of training is tactical drilling. The Zulu do not fight as individuals, they fight as a unit, the impi. The standard formation is the impondo zankamo, the horns of the bull. The chest, a dense mass of elite warriors, engages the enemy head-on, pinning them in place. The horns, 2 flanking columns of younger, faster warriors, sprint around the sides to encircle the enemy from behind. The loins, a reserve force sitting with their backs to the battle, facing away, wait for the enemy to break, then rise and pursue. The entire formation is choreographed. Every warrior must know his place. Every warrior must know when to move, when to stop, when to charge, when to hold. The recruits drill the formation for hours each day, running through the movements without weapons, then with shields, then with spears. The commanders use whistles and hand signals to communicate, because in the noise of battle, shouts cannot be heard. The recruits learn to respond instantly to the whistle. 1 blast means stop. 2 blasts means advance. 3 blasts means horns, close. 4 blasts means loins rise. They drill until the movements are automatic, until they no longer think, until their bodies know what to do before their minds have time to question. This is not mindless obedience. This is tactical fluency. A Zulu warrior does not need to be told what to do in battle. He has done it 10,000 times in training. He knows. The final phase of training is the test of battle. The recruit is not considered a full warrior until he has killed an enemy in combat. The first kill is a rite of passage. The recruit must take a trophy, usually the enemy's weapon or shield, and present it to the king. He is then allowed to wear the headband of a warrior, to grow his hair long, to court women. He is given his permanent shield, painted with his regiment's colors. He is given his iklowa, sharpened to a razor edge. He is given a new name, a war name, chosen by the king based on his performance. He is no longer a boy, he is a Zulu warrior. He is forged. The Zulu training system produced warriors who were the equal of any in the world. At the Battle of Isandlwana in 1879, 20,000 Zulu warriors, most of them trained in this system, destroyed a British army of 1,800 soldiers armed with modern rifles and artillery. The Zulu ran 50 miles to reach the battlefield. They fought for hours without food or water. They charged into the face of Martini Henry rifles, losing hundreds of men, but they did not stop. They closed the distance. They stabbed with the ikloa. They won. The British, who had never seen anything like it, called it savagery. But it was not savagery. It was discipline. It was training. It was a system that had been perfected over 50 years. The Zulu warrior was not born. He was made. He was forged in the Ikanda, on the parade ground, in the thorn bush, under the lash. He was forged for combat. And he was the deadliest infantryman in Africa. So what can we learn from the Zulu Warrior Training System? First, that discipline is not about punishment. It is about identity. The Zulu recruit did not obey because he feared the lash. He obeyed because he had become a Zulu. His identity had been stripped away and rebuilt. He no longer thought of himself as an individual. He thought of himself as a member of the regiment, the nation, the king. That identity was more powerful than any threat. Second, that physical conditioning is the foundation of combat effectiveness. The Zulu could run 50 miles and fight because they had trained for it. Their bodies were hard, their feet were leather, their lungs were iron. No amount of weapons training can compensate for a warrior who is exhausted before the battle begins. The Zulu understood this. Third, that simplicity is strength. The Zulu had no complex manuals, no advanced technology, no secret weapons. They had 3 weapons and a shield. They had one formation. They had one philosophy. Close with the enemy, stab him, step over him, stab the next one. That simplicity allowed them to execute their tactics with perfect coordination. Complexity is the enemy of speed. Simplicity is the friend of victory. Fourth, that unity is power. The Zulu training system broke the old clan loyalties and replaced them with loyalty to the regiment. A Zulu warrior would die for the man on his left, not because they were cousins, but because they had trained together, suffered together, bled together. That bond, forged in the Ikanda, was unbreakable. It was the secret weapon of the Zulu nation. Fifth, that the best training is realistic. The Zulu did not train with wooden swords and padded armor. They trained with real shields, real spears, real running, real bleeding. They simulated battle conditions as closely as possible. When they faced actual battle, it was not a shock. It was just another drill, a drill with live enemies. That is the highest goal of any training system, to make the real thing feel familiar. Today, the Zulu Warrior Training System is gone. The Ikanda are ruins. The regiments are disbanded. The last veterans of the Anglo-Zulu War died decades ago. But the legacy lives on. The Zulu people still celebrate their warrior heritage. Every year, thousands gather at the Shaka Day festival to dance the war dance, to sing the songs, to remember the men who ran 50 miles and fought with spears against rifles. The Zulu monarchy still exists. The current king, Misuzulu Zulu, is Shaka's direct descendant. The spirit of the impi, the bullhorns, the chest, the loins, is still alive in the memory of the nation. The training system that Shaka created did not just forge warriors, it forged a people. Before Shaka, the Zulu were a small, obscure clan. After Shaka, they were a nation. The training system was the furnace, the warriors were the steel, and the empire was the blade. The Zulu Warrior Training System, forged for combat, not training, forging, not soldiers, warriors, not men, Zulu. That is their story. That is their legacy. That is the fire that still burns, even after the spears have rusted and the shields have crumbled. The Zulu were forged, and what is forged cannot be broken. Hamba Kale, warriors. Your training is over. Your legend has just begun. The bullhorns still close, the chest still holds, the loins still wait. And the Iklowa still stabs. In the memory of Africa, in the history of war, in the hearts of those who know that true warriors are not born, they are forged. Forged for combat. Forged forever.